Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Aisha. Thank you for joining me today. Today's video is going to be just a quick and easy one that I've been wanting to film for a really long time. I don't think that I've filmed a video on books I've read in like a year. I think the last one that I filmed, I want to say my baby was in the video with me, like on the floor with her little chimey chair. And so it's been a while, but I'm happy to get back to that content. For those of you who don't know, on my channel, I post bookish content and writing content. I'm in the process of writing my first book. I'm really excited about that. And so some of the content that comes up on this channel is about my writing journey, but I also love to read. Now, I will definitely say that since I have gone back to work and have been trying to really buckle down and finish this manuscript before the end of October, that reading has kind of taken a backseat. I'm still doing it. It's just not as much as I was when I was not writing. So I am going to go ahead and jump into the content for this video. So today is going to be all the books that I read in the month of September, and it really wasn't that much. So this should be a very quick video, but if you're looking for some inspiration on books to read, I got you. A lot of the books that I read in September, I truly enjoyed. There was probably only about one that, well, you'll find out. It's like the beginning of a series of books, and I do feel like the series might pick up more with the other books. So let's get started. To start for the month of September, I started reading It's Elementary by Elise Bryant. Elise Bryant is a new to me author this year. Now, she's been writing books, I believe, since like maybe 2020, I believe is when her first book came out. If you do know more about her, you can definitely post it in the comments below and correct me if I'm wrong about that. But she released a book this year, and it's like her first adult book. It's a cozy mystery is what it's called, but the book is called It's Elementary by Elise Bryant, and this book follows the main character, Mavis, who is a single mom to a daughter who is in second grade. Her name is Pearl, and she happens to witness what she believes is a potential murder at the school. She gets named, not really named, but, and I can't even say really nominated either, to be a part of the PTO or PTA, depending on where you're from. I know we call it PTO, but some people call it PTA. Anyways, by the president to lead up the division for like racial equality is the best way to put it. Within the schools. And so Mavis, of course, is an African-American woman. Her daughter attends a predominantly Caucasian school. And so there's like some things about that in there as well. But it's a really cute, cozy mystery. There's like a little romance in it too. It's really cute to see her have like another chance at romance, because she was married and is now divorced. But it's a really great book. I do believe I rated it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I like how Elise Bryant writes. This is now the second book of hers that I have read, and I really enjoyed this one a lot. And I can't wait for her next project. I actually happened to find one of her books at our library's book sale for 25 cents. And I can't wait to read that one. I do believe it's like a young adult book. I think that's her main genre that she writes in. But for her adult debut, I really enjoyed this one. Okay, the second book that I read is part of a series. And this series is not yet finished. I do believe the 3rd installment of this book is coming out next year in April, I believe. It might be wrong. There are a lot of books coming out next year, starting with Onyx Storm, and I'm so excited about that one. But this one is part of the Powerless trilogy by Lauren Roberts, and it is the second book in that trilogy, and it is Reckless. So this trilogy follows Kai, or Malachi, he goes by Kai, and Peyton, that they call Pay, in the book, and then his brother Kit. So it has like a love triangle in it as well, but you can definitely tell which two characters are like truly like feeling each other in this one. But so this one is, if you are not familiar with the series, in this book they have people who have like magical powers and then people who don't, and they call them ordinaries, and they believe that years ago there was a plague that came and like, I guess, stripped powers, people got sick, and then they now believe that the ordinary people are kind of like contaminating the people with powers and like weakening their powers and making them basically sick and not have powers. And so Pei is an ordinary, but her father has basically kind of trained her to have psychic abilities, and basically what she's really good at is just reading people. And so he wanted her to have powers so that like she wouldn't be banned or thrown out of the country. And then Kai is the enforcer, or will be the future enforcer for the king, and his job is to go out and find the ordinaries and basically like execute them. And it's oh my gosh, the way that she's written these books is so great. The tension between Kai and Peyton just basically had me coming back for more. And I finished the book and I was literally like, my jaw was to the floor for the second one, and I cannot wait for the third one. And I will talk about this in another video about like my library and why my library is so small. These are just some of the books I have. I have boxes of books downstairs, but I only really buy books that I feel that I could read again. And so this will be a series I know I will read again, just like with Fourth Wing. I have already reread Fourth Wing 3 times. That's how much I love it. I know this is another series that I will be keeping and adding to my library because my library space is very limited. I usually only buy books that I know I'm going to read again, but this series is going to be one that I am going to add. I already bought the first book and I will be buying the second one. Okay, moving right along. So the second one, or the third book that So the third book that I am going to talk about, I started reading this series because I read the other series and kind of enjoyed it. I don't know, I was having a real hard time with the world building because it was a lot of information for me. It was a lot of information for me. And I'm not like new to the fantasy world, but I'm new to like reading mainly fantasy because I've just been really enjoying the genre. And so this author's name is Mary E. Pearson, and this is the Remnant Chronicles. And so these books were written before Dance of Thieves and Vow of Thieves. So I do believe those are like her newer books, and it was a duology. And I read those. I read them really quick. I did enjoy the two characters in that. So I guess it would be kind of like a romantasy. Those two books would be kind of like romantasy. But this one's The Kiss of Deception, and it's part of the Remnant Chronicles. And so I read book 1, and I have to say, for me, book 1 was a little slow. I had a hard time finishing it, and so like I would get other books and I would try to listen to those. It just didn't draw me in. Will I finish the series? Yes, because I'm kind of invested in the story now, because I do believe this series comes before the Dance of Thieves and the Vow of Thieves duology series, because there's a lot of mention of the same cities and towns and worlds in this one. But I really struggled to get through this book. And so this book, I'm just I'll just read this for you, because I can't even say that I can really give you a true idea of like what was going on. I really didn't pick up on a lot of stuff until the very end. So it says, in a society steeped in tradition, Princess Leia's life follows a preordained course. As first daughter, she is expected to have the revered gift of sight, but she doesn't. And she knows her parents are perpetrating a sham when they arrange her marriage to secure an alliance with a neighboring kingdom to a prince she's never met. On the morning of her wedding, Leia flees to a distant village. She settles into a new life, hopeful, when two mysterious and handsome strangers arrive, and unaware that one is the jilted prince and the other an assassin sent to kill her. Deception abounds, and Leia finds herself on the brink of unlocking perilous secrets, even as she finds herself falling in love. So that is basically what that book is about. And so these two guys do show up. She ends up falling in love with one of them. And now I'm on to book 2, which to me seems is so much better than book 1 so far. So I am reading book 2 currently. I will report back on that one when I finish. I don't know, this book was okay. It got me into the series. I do feel like book 2 was better. But I would definitely say The Dance of Thieves and Vow of Thieves by this author, beautiful. Okay, on to book 4. So book 4 was more like an informational self-help book, and this book has been going around. I really wanted to read it because as a teacher and a parent, I felt like it would be great for my brain. And so it's The Anxious Generation, and I don't know if you've heard of that book, but oh my goodness, it was so great and so eye-opening, especially on things pertaining to social media and how it is affecting our children and how it's affecting their childhood. And I will definitely say, as a second grade teacher, the things that he brought up in this book really like made me go, oh my gosh. But it was really eye-opening because there has definitely been a huge shift in education. Now, I've only been teaching since 2011, and in this book, he does reference 2010 because that is when a lot of smartphones came out, and then we had screens basically in front of our face, and he talks about how we've gone from a play-based childhood to like a screen-based childhood. And so before, kids were really playing outside, doing a lot of pretend play, interacting, having social interactions, working through problems together. And like now, kids really do lack those skills. And not all kids, but a great majority of children do lack those skills because we have really gone to a screen-based childhood. I know I'm saying this as I'm recording a video to be viewed on YouTube. But that's okay. Use your social media sparingly and, do what is best for you. That's all I have to say. I did rate this book 5 stars. I love learning about, like, things like this. I really do. For me, and I don't read a lot of books like this. I do read a lot of parenting books because, like, right now we're really in the thick of parenting. And so I do like to read a lot of parenting books. But I really enjoyed this one. And this will be a book I think I'm going to buy and then go back and read and then mark all over it and go back to things in this book. It has really been an eye-opening experience for me and my social media use too. So I do think that it is beneficial to read, not only for like children in education, but also for you. So if you love books like that, Anxious Generation is a great one. Okay, and then to close out September for me, this book I do believe was this debut author's her first book. And so this one was by Olivia Rose Darling, and it's Fear the Flames. And it seems like it's going to be a series with the way that it ended. So I'm just going to read. I think it works best if I just read the book description to you. Okay. An exiled princess teams up with the last man she thought she could trust in the start of a dazzling and unforgettable epic fantasy romance series. As a child, Eowyn Atara, I believe is how that is pronounced, was ripped away from her dragons and imprisoned by her father, King Garrick of Emirath. Years later, Eowyn is now a woman determined to free her dragons. Having established a secret kingdom of her own called Astilion, she's ready to do what's necessary to save her people and seek vengeance, even if that means having to align herself with the commander of Verabeth, Caden Velez, the most feared and dangerous man in all the kingdoms of Reverin. Guys, I don't know if I'm pronouncing these names right. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it. Caden is ruthless, lethal, and secretive, promising to help Elwyn if she will stand with him and all of Veriveth in the pending war against Imarath. Despite their contrasting motives, Elwyn can't ignore their undeniable attraction as they combine their efforts and plot to infiltrate the impenetrable castle of Imarath to steal back her dragons and seek revenge on their common enemy. As the world tries to keep them apart, the pull between Elwyn and Caden becomes impossible to resist. Working together with their crew over clandestine schemes, the threat of war looms, making the imminent heist to free her dragons their most dangerous adventure yet. But for Elwyn, her vengeance is a promise signed in blood, and she'll stop at nothing to see that promise through. An immersive fantasy filled with a sizzling, reluctant allies to lovers romance, a world to get lost in, for sure, dangerous quests, dragon bonds, and an entertaining band of characters to root for. Fear the Flames marks the stunning debut of Olivia Rose Darling. Okay, I would definitely say there's not enough dragons in this book for me. And now that she, hopefully, at the end of the book, she does get her dragons. That's what it's about. Hopefully book 2 has more dragons. I love a dragon story. Really love a dragon story. And there are dragons on the cover, and that is what drew me in. And then reading it. And let me tell you, if you are not into books that describe how people are basically being mutilated and tortured, this is not the book for you. There is a scene with that, and I would definitely say the spice level in this book is really high. I felt like it went from 0 to 100 really quickly. Pretty kind of graphic. When I was explaining to my friend, I was like, I feel like I got thrown into 50 Shades. Like, there's some, it's spicy. Now, I would definitely say the spice doesn't come until the end of the book, but there's spice. There is some definite like torture that goes on in this book. But I will definitely tell you, it is a ride. Like, adventure. I didn't feel bored when I was reading it, and I was literally like sitting trying to figure out what was coming up next. Will I be reading the second book? Yes, I will. I will definitely be reading the second book because I want to know how they're going to fix the ending. Like, there's some things that happened in the end. I think I rated this book, I rated it 4 stars because I thought for a debut author, she did amazing with writing it. The spicy scenes were a little graphic for me, but I mean, I made it through them. And then the torture scene, wow. I'm usually not a squeamish person when it comes to stuff like that, but I guess just for me, it was a little too much. But I did give it 4 stars because I enjoyed the action, I enjoyed the story, I enjoyed the characters, loved the characters, I loved the world building. There wasn't so much, and I was able to follow it. So definitely check her out with this being her debut, her debut novel. I do feel like it's definitely worth it. And that basically rounds up September. Now, for October, I do have a plan to finish my manuscript, and so reading is going to be at an all-time low because I'm trying to get this manuscript out to some people to read over. And so here is what's happening in October for me. I will be moving on to my next book in the Throne of Glass series. And which one am I on? That is going to be on my TBR. It is Tower of Dawn. I do believe it's Tower of Dawn. I will be moving on to finish that. I mean, it's a pretty lengthy book. I have it up here on my bookshelf. I should have brought it down so I could just like hold it up, but I'm gonna have to put like little picture cards now in these videos. I will be moving on to, hopefully, I'm only on chapter 1, but in October, that's my plan, is to really dive into that book. And I am going to be reading The Cruel Prince, I believe is what it is. I have started it, haven't gotten very far, but I think I'm just going to focus on those 2 books for October. So my October video, if I post one, won't really have a lot of book content. So I might just do an October, November. I do hope that you check out these books, and I hope that you enjoy them. I do have this thing where I don't like to post books that I didn't enjoy. I feel like I can definitely always find some good in any book or something that I truly enjoyed. All of these books that I read this month for me were great. And at least got me into another book from that author or in a series. So yeah, anyways, I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for joining me in this one. I hope that you find a book to enjoy reading for the month of October, and comment below and let me know what's on your TBR. I would love to hear, especially if it's a fantasy book, since that's like a new genre I'm really getting into lately. So if you have something that's like a romantasy type fantasy book, comment below. I would love to hear some suggestions from you. I will see you in my next video. Bye.